Welcome back to our mini series on COVID-19. And I'm Dr. Kavita Chinayan, and I have here with me my teacher and friend, Dr. Sumit Kesarkar. And we are talking about the pandemic from a very different point of view. That is the viewpoint of Ayurveda and how this is going to affect us in every aspect of our lives and how we can prepare for it. So, welcome back, Dr.
Uh,
Sumit.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. And in the previous video, you spoke beautifully about the gunas, the three gunas, and then how they are related to the five elements and how this all relates to the coronavirus. But you did bring up the issue of Agni in the previous video. So I was wondering if we could speak a little bit more about Agni and how Ayurveda defines Agni and in the context of health and disease, and and how we will, how you will prescribe certain things for strengthening Agni and bringing it into balance.
See, if I define Ayurveda myself, how what I look for Ayurveda, I'll say it is Agni.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it is transformation.
Yeah.
You can get things into your system, you can get things out of your system, you can retain certain things into your system. But if you are not transforming,
Mm-hmm.
you're causing stagnation in life.
Yes.
Similarly, like you can read a lot of books, but if they're not transforming your thoughts in application, they are just something which you have just gained over a period of time. It is of no use. And if you read the aphorisms of Vedas, Ayurveda, because again I say Ayurveda is not a book. A lot of people mistake Ayurveda like a book of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because in the Western world, as you go to the court and you have a Bible, and you say, okay, in the court we say, I swear on the Holy Bible, whatever it happens. The Islamic people have the Quran, Holy Quran.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd go for the Gita.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is just something which happened in the colonial times. So similarly, a lot of people feel that Charak, Sushruta, Vagbhat are books of Ayurveda.
Mm-hmm.
Veds are different. But no, these are all which is something which was orally transferred in a very algorithmic form, building from personal to personal, and then segregated to the people of skills, because earlier times there was no documentation. So it was very much logical that if I am doing a sculpture,
Mm-hmm.
I'll teach the art to my son.
Right.
you know the apprentice who will come from that community. So eventually, when the codified manuscripts started happening, we started getting books, and from those books certain experts excerpts started happening, which are codified over a period of time by Charak, Sushrut, Vagbhat, redacted over a period of time, and we got books on Ayurveda. Eventually, treatises were created, then institutional Ayurveda started, and now we have these books. But the concept of Agni, or transformation, is not Ayurvedic, it is Vedic. It is
Mm-hmm.
pre Vedic, post Vedic. I don't want to go into the debate of where concepts come from, because we are talking about application.
Yeah.
And as I said previously, for me, Agni is transformation at all level. It doesn't mean Agni means metabolic fire, metabolic enzymes, but there is one part of transformation.
Correct.
Anything, even a young child, when his child is born, after 3 4 months you see a transformation in him. His skin changes. That is Agni.
Mm.
If you keep a dead body, period of time you will see that it is decomposing. That is Agni. Transformation wherever you can see, it is Agni. A day transforms to night, that is Agni.
Yeah.
Moon phases changes, that is Agni. Now you'll say, no, this is a physical event because the moon is under the sun, below the sun, the shadows are happening. Understand? But any change because of that phenomenon, any particular change in the micro to macro, what is happening is Agni.
Mm-hmm.
And why I'm bringing up these points, because nothing can survive without transformation. A lot of time this talk was coming when COVID came up, that when the season changes, when it will become warm, the virus will die.
Yeah.
But because it is cold, there is no transformation. The virus is increasing.
Mm-hmm.
Moment Agni comes, the heat comes, or transformation comes, change occurs.
Yeah.
That is the reason why, in India, where we have very hot climates, 40 degree, 45 degrees, The sun rays kills most of the germs. So that soil which you take and create the vessels to cook, they already lead or add to your immunity. If the same soil you take from these places, places where in where we see, oh, these are clean places, like the cold places in USA or in other parts of India where burial occurs a lot of time. Maybe because of the less sunlight, maybe that soil is not that disinfected. I'm not saying that it won't be healthy, but still there is a difference. Why I'm bringing this point? Because this acts very subtly, and it acts on the way you are transforming from within. So it is not a one-to-one relationship. As you are transforming, things around you are also transforming. Like for example, you have a particular perspective towards a job. Suddenly a thing occurs where 10 people are going for a job. Some things occur. Few people respond to the directive. Few people get angry with the directive. Few people get transformation is occurring. The one who get inspired will transform themselves, and so they will transform the others around them. And this is what is the concept of Agni. Whenever you put something into your body, it doesn't matter if you put vegetarian, non-vegetarian, gluten, vegan, it is still made up of these 5 elements, which we talked about.
Yes.
When it goes inside, there are certain juices which will fall inside, because of Vayu, as I told, because nothing moves because Vayu. Once it puts inside, certain reactions will occur and it will get converted into an homogeneous mixture. If it is good, as per the body, because body requires a homogeneous mixture, identified as nutrition. The constitution of this mixture, what has been transformed, is already set into your system. That is the reason some people can eat 10 portions of sweet and have nothing. And if you eat one portion of sweet, you will get a stomachache.
Yeah.
So you won't say that because you eat one portion of sweet, you are diseased and this guy can eat 10, that is healthy. It is individualistic. You can eat 10 portions of chili and you won't get anything, and the other guy will, he'll have a problem. So the moment that homogeneous mixture is formed, your brain identifies it as nutrition. It is called as ahar ras or prakrut ahar ras, whatever the word is. If it is acceptable by the body as nutrition or homogeneous mixture, it will be absorbed. If not, it will either try to throw it away or convert it into some form where it can store for future use, like fat or something, which gets located on your organs, creating enzymatic and hormonal discrepancies. So what I'm trying to say, this is a cumulative effect. And that is the reason why Agni should be cultivated from birth. In Ayurveda, there are a lot of sanskaras which cultivate the Agni. From immunological processes like, you prick your ear, Karnavedan sanskar, to certain kind of home oven, Lekupanayan sanskar. There are a lot of sanskaras which happen. Dinacharya is there. Now we don't have to stick to it, which was in the yesteryears, but we have to understand this concept of cultivating the Agni, because this Agni or transformation goes from micro to macro. As the sun rises every day, the moon, these patterns have not changed from eons, right? With little bit of aberrations here and there. If you really want to get into the details of astronomy, you may say, okay, the axis has shifted 0.1 degree, 0.1 degree, but for on a larger scale, it doesn't matter to us. Right. Daylight, day, it's still the same. So what is macro will affect the micro. Similarly, we as life forms are attached to this transformation. We wake up with the sun, the channels in our body, the capillaries in our body might open up, vasodilate with the sun. When it becomes cold, it will going to go down. And it has been adapted from the people who stay at different geographical locations. Like there are people who stay at the tropics. You will see that their pathophysiology will be different. You being a doctor, you know that across ethnicities, pathological values change. Yeah. So Agni in itself, the transformation in itself has adapted to the nature around it. And that is where the concept of Agni comes, that we have to understand this pattern in today's world where we are continuously traveling from one port to another. We are not confined to one place where you are adapting and developing a general immunity. Like if I'm staying in one geographical area for eons of time, I'll develop an immunity towards that place. Like when I go to the mountains in Himalayas, there are certain communities who have never come out of that place. Yeah. Eons they are there. So if you see their immunity to certain diseases, they are not getting that. They will get the diseases which are prevalent there. And they have their annual festivals to get rid of those pandemics. There will be an annual fair. There will be an annual Havan. There will be a Devi Yatra there. Why? Because that is time when they understand the pandemics hit. Certain transition is occurring. It could be a fertility rite. It could be something. And that is there. Now what is happening? The people from those villages, if they go to different parts of the world, they are going to adapt to there, again go back there. This has started creating different kind of issues in Agni. Transformation levels changes because we are picking up habits from others. We are picking up directives on internet. Okay, this is good for my body, this is good for my body.
Yeah.
We are picking up supplements from internet thinking this is herbal and chemical. So the concept of Agni is beyond whatever you eat. It doesn't matter if you're taking herbal or chemical. If you can digest in a proper level, in a sequential level, it will give you that immunity to survive. But that again comes from a very methodical way. You cannot say that I'm eating something, my Agni is high. That Agni must come right, even to take the right decision to eat is also Agni.
Yes.
You know that I need to do this, but you give justification, I can't do this. So that is not a proper Agni. So you have to understand that what Vedas have said, that you cannot beat the algorithms of nature. However randomness there might be in the universe, is still is in an algorithmic way. It is not that today the moon is coming up and tomorrow it is saying, okay, I'm going to go away. It is still, it is there. Even though we get tsunamis, we get, still there is this hope that, because these calculations are like this, it is still going to, the transformation is still going to lead into something else. And for me, on the grossest of level to the subtlest of level, when I connect with nature and understand this transformative process within me, I can adapt to anywhere in the world, whether it be the mountains, whether it be seaside, whether it be the food what I get. It is not the recipe, it is what the combination it is. It is not the food you are eating, it is the taste value which you are getting. Therefore Ayurveda says that whatever in the world you eat here, in the future, solar foods, it is not beyond those six tastes. There are only six tastes: sweet, sour, astringent, spicy, and bitter. Whatever. I'm just giving very English references. They are not like madhur doesn't mean sweet, but just to give you an example. So if you balance those tastes, your body will be fine. If you balance it properly every day, if you balance those days, if you take all the 6 days, your body will be relatively fine. Again, it comes on a layer. If you take the right taste but at the wrong time, your Agni will be disrupted. Your Agni not only transforms to create new things, it also creates transformation to throw away new things, to create material which needs to be thrown out, right? You have to again convert something into waste.
Right.
So Ayurveda is the only science which says that waste should be in a proper form.
Yeah.
There are disorders which are only described on how proper urine or feces is formed.
Yeah.
There is no other science which describes diagnostically on it. It is an additional factor that, okay, in these diseases, sometimes the urine might look hazy.
Right.
But in Ayurveda, there are disorders, syndromes, and these are syndromes. These are not diseases of the yesteryears. These are basic syndromes covering all the kind of issues which might have gone into the past, in the present, and will come into the future. If you can understand these elements, how I'm telling you, because I gave you these directives on the three doshas, on the 5 elements of how universal they are. If you understand this, if you understand the homeostasis of how exactly these natural forces are working, we can understand any disorder which is going to come up. We don't have to worry about planting trees or planting or creating fields. If we understand this process of transformation, we can adapt ourselves to the coming world. And if some change has to come, it is not going to come from you, it is going to come on its own. We have to trust the logic of nature. As you can see, this one virus came and everything changed.
Yes.
How many people are fighting for climate change? How many people are fighting for work? Don't use plastic, don't use this. Now you see. So we can only fight with awareness. But the moment a thing comes, those who will adapt to the changes in nature, to the concepts of this Vedic algorithms, will survive. And the concept of Agni will always help them imbibe external things to internal, whether it be food, thoughts, lifestyle process, or spirituality, and help them lead a effective life.
Yeah. That's so lovely. So, one of the things that happens, in Ayurveda, or our understanding of Ayurveda, is the minute we talk about Agni, we're thinking digestive fire, as in the digestion of food.
Right.
And what I have learned, of course, from you, and in everything that you have said today as well, it is much more than that, and it is the fundamental force of transformation at every level. And I really appreciated you bringing up the issue of thought and emotion. And there too is the is the we can see the working of Agni or not. And so thank you for bringing that up. And so moving on from here, then, what I want to ask you now is this issue of immunity. Is immunity, how is immunity related to Agni?
So it's a good question. In Vedic sciences, we say there is something called as Satmya. No, I'm not relating it,
Mm.
but I'm just saying Satmya means where you coexist with yourself and surrounding.
Mhm.
And sometimes you develop a immunity which is called as Oak Satmya. Though we can say that this is not good for me, but if you keep on doing it in a proper methodical way, you develop a coexistence with it.
Mhm.
We see that, some people, when they drink alcohol,
Mhm.
we say, okay, this alcohol is going to cause you problems. But we see there are certain people who drink so much alcohol, they don't eat food, yet they don't get any diseases. We cannot take them as an ideal candidate. But you understand, he has developed some kind of a coexistence with it, that because of the way he drinks it or whatever methodology he has adapted, it could be logical, it could be illogical, he's immune to its effects.
Mm.
So this what we call sometimes as herd immunity, the words which are floating right now,
Yeah.
is something what we comes into the concept of this oak satmya, where you develop a resistance to something by just being with it for a long period of time.
Ah.
And when it's a logical immunity where you understand your own systems and take appropriate steps, where either you don't develop a disorder, or even if you do, you get, with much less damage.
Mhm.
Now this is not a very quantifiable expression by blood reports or pathology. They can just be like, some people say immunity means having good levels of immunoglobulin E, immunoglobulin M. I sometimes check CRP levels, ER cell levels, just to give a a leadway to doctors, medical doctors who come to discuss with me.
Mhm.
But that is just like giving a correlation to someone, because metaphysical concepts or Vedic concepts might be too much for them. So for me, immunity is having a good Agni. Agni means like whatever you put into your body, even if it is with discomfort, you must be able to digest it. Secondly, immunity is tested over time. You cannot stay in one geographical location and say I'm immune. It has to change with era. Today you have to travel from country to country. You have jet lags. You have places where the sun doesn't set. Sometimes you'll go to countries where the sunlight is so dismal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll go to places where there are a lot of rains. So the vegetable what you eat, you yourself must have known that you eat something when it is sunny.
Yeah.
The same thing when you eat when it is murky, when it is overcast, you'll see a difference in the way it digests. Sometimes it will feel very good, sometimes it will say, why did I eat it?
Yeah.
So Agni differs with environment. Why it is happening now? Because we are not exposing our body to environment. you know if I have to just go on medical terms, because you're a doctor, that we see that the metabolism is little bit controlled by thyroid gland. I'm not giving a very generalized idea, I am just giving a reference. But what happens, this thyroid gland also controls your temperature into the body, some heat and cold temperature. But if you're not exposing yourself to the sun and moon during the cold season, you're turning up the heater so hot that you feel you're in a warm, sometimes in warm temperature, you're turning up your AC so cold.
Mhm.
Then your gland gets confused, your
Yeah.
Agni gets confused. It is a cumulative process. So the moment you get out into the environment, you fall sick because your gland gets confused.
Ah.
Now think about Agni. Agni has to be developed by experiences, by exposures to things around you. How can you do it? By having a methodical dinacharya. When you wake up with the sun, you eat with the sun, you sleep with the moon. There are certain timings given in Ayurveda when your digestion is active.
Yeah.
There are certain timings given in Ayurveda where your excretion is active. There is a certain time given in Ayurveda where all the waste materials go away and you get natural hunger. So we are not talking about gross hunger. Remember, what you eat, digest, and throw out. Every cell in your body is doing the same.
Yeah.
It is taking something, it is creating some food, it is throwing out something. Any of that channeling, any of that process of transformation gets hampered That cell level gets hampered. When one cell gets hampered, the work has to be done by another cell. When the cluster of cells get hampered, the organ gets hampered.
Yeah.
When one organ gets hampered, the body gets hampered. And because life has got nothing to do with the emotional and financial problems, it has to sustain itself. Then it acts on emotional levels. It says that, okay, fine, I'm not creating that kind of resources to support your eyes, to support your hair, to support your skin. So these are the first things in old age, as you start aging, they start getting deprecated because it has to sustain nutrition. Now just imagine if you plan for this from your young age, you understand your system, you create a disciplined methodology, your immunity becomes good, you fall less sick. You see with the yogis, you see their skin, you see their hair, they hardly use any cosmetic products. We use all the cosmetic products, yet we have problems.
Yeah.
So Agni, the concept of Agni starts right from your house. We in India have been very lucky to be a part of this tradition where all these things happen in a very nonchalant way in your house. You're born, your mom will teach you something, all these things. But we are slowly losing it out, in small, small forms. We are changing our utensils, we're changing the way we put salt to our food. We are cooking in microwaves, we are even heating our waters in microwave, we are staying in curtailed environments. And that is where your microagni, this biochemical receptor which is telling to give a perfect digestive response, to create a tissue which is so strong enough each day, day in day out, is slowly deprecating over time. It is a cumulative issue, and that is the reason why we are falling sick. We are getting recurrent cold and cough infections, young kids are getting infections, and then when a pandemic comes, we all are exposed.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that immunity is a solution. A most immune person can fall sick, but his chances are less.
Right.
And it is not about just this pandemic. We all have to understand, are we going to keep sitting in our houses for every scare that is going to come?
Right.
Or are you going to try and create a society where by making intelligent choices, at least you give yourself a chance to survive? And this is what a question this pandemic, I think, is asking everyone. Everybody is saying now, you can see that whose immunity is good is getting away, whose immunity is bad is suffering.
Yeah.
But what is the concept of immunity? There is no marker for immunity. If there is a marker for immunity, the scientists must realize, okay, if you have this high levels, then maybe you're safe. But we can't generalize. So immunity is not generalized by supplements, by blood reports. It is just generalized by the way you are and your history and how exactly you can build on it. So concepts like pranayam, where you are putting more oxygen, using most parts of your organs, creating a hormonal response where whatever you eat gets digested, transformed, the waste materials are thrown out on day-to-day basis. If this is properly maintained with proper logic, dincharya, depending on the principles, the concept of Agni will definitely be understood, and it will help you in the future, not only you but your kids, in making informed choices in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That was really very nice breakdown of the relationship between Agni and immunity. And in the next video, we'll delve more into the topic of immunity and how we can build it through cultivating our own Agni. And so thank you again for watching, and thank you.
Thank you for having me on the show.